Well, hello, friend.
Hello.
So I figured we get this started by introducing ourselves. So I am Hannah Morrow. I'm a 2019 core member of Charlotte Piedmont Triad, and I'm originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. But for the past 2 years, I've been teaching third grade at Archer Elementary in Greensboro, North Carolina.
I guess I'll introduce myself too. My name is Kim Mejia. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I also teach in the Charlotte Piedmont Triad region, and I am a 2019 core member teaching 6th grade science in a middle school.
Love it.
Yes.
Kim and I are roommates. For those of you who do not know us, we share a wonderful home together in the heart of Greensboro, North Carolina. We are unfortunately not together right now because I'm visiting family back in Raleigh and Kim is working summer school in Greensboro. So we are separated through our Zoom screens, but excited to be here together and to do some fun questions. So are you ready to dive in, Kim?
I'm ready, I think. Yes.
All right. So the first one should be a pretty easy one. I would just love for you to share with everyone watching what your favorite memory of teaching has been thus far.
So I don't think it's so much like a favorite memory, just more of a fun thing that I get to do as a teacher. I definitely experienced it in a different way during remote learning. But review games for me are always really fun because I get to have them or my students in breakout rooms, and sometimes I'll just like pop in and I won't say anything. I won't share my screen or show my face. And they'll be so into it that they won't notice that I'm there, and they'll be stuck on something, not really know where to go. And then I'll just unmute and start asking a question. On more than one occasion, I have definitely scared them, which is not on purpose, but it's slightly amusing. I definitely enjoy it more in person because I get to do that too. I'm very stealthy. I can sneak up on them. But I love that they're so into it that they like forget that I exist, and I can just like pop in and be helpful. So yeah.
That's always the best feeling, is when they're like so immersed in something that they just don't even know like what's going on anymore.
Oh yeah.
Simon, you're doing a great job in the classroom, Kim.
Yeah, I hope so.
And I'm glad that you still got to have that experience with virtual learning, which, as we both know, has been a unique experience this past year.
We'll get back to the in-person scaring for this upcoming school year.
More in-person stealth.
Yes.
I think that actually leads us kind of perfectly into the next question that I picked out for you, because I think we can both agree that teaching virtually is much different than teaching in person, and definitely far different than anything we could have imagined doing. Definitely. So I would love to know, in-person, virtual, all in all, teaching, how has it, the actual experience, been different than maybe what you imagined teaching would be like when you were first, entering the core as an incoming core member?
So when I was entering the core, I didn't really know what to expect. I did not study education. It was not something that I thought of myself doing. But getting into the classroom, I realized how important it was to create relationships with my students. I think sometimes we just think that it's just content and just making sure that they understand vocabulary and the information that they need to know for like tests. But it's definitely a day in, day out, like forming relationships with students, letting them know that they are welcome in your classroom and that you want them to be there. I've definitely had multiple experiences where having that relationship has proven to make a really big difference in the way they show up, in the way that I'm in my classroom. And I think that going forward, like, it's definitely something that I want to continue to do because I understand now how powerful it is to have that with your students.
Absolutely. And I guess touching on that, not to cheat by asking a follow-up question, but I love, are there any like relationships with your students that have like stood out to you the most? I know, like, personally, I definitely have a few students that I can think of having had like particularly special connections with, but is there any that, come to mind? Not to put you on the spot.
Um, I have one last year. It was one student, he didn't really talk much. He didn't seem like interested in learning anything or being at school. He was one of the students that had mentioned, oh, like as soon as I turn 16, I'm gonna drop out. Like I don't care about this enough to finish it. And so it was definitely me talking to him and just like, getting to know him as a person. And at the end of the school year, he actually, it was really awkward. He like came into my classroom and he like dropped a little gift bag and just like walked away. He didn't like say anything. He didn't like tell me, oh, Miss Mejia, like this is for you. It was just, here you go, bye. But yeah, but inside I had the cutest note. He had actually knitted a dolly, I think it's what it's called. Like he had knitted it himself. And he like in the note was like, I'm really thankful and I really appreciate like you talking to me and having the time to like get to know me. And that honestly made my entire year worth it, because it was something completely unexpected. And it was one of those times too where I was like, it's definitely an important part of teaching and being a teacher, because most of the time you don't really know like the impact you have on kids until they leave you. And so I wasn't able to see him like this last year, but I know that like, he's doing great things and he's going to continue school. So.
Absolutely. And actually, for all of you watching, that doily lives in our home on our kitchen table. We have a beautiful plant that sits on top of it as a reminder of those really important relationships. That was a great answer, Kim. Really, you're killing it so far. And so for our final question of our quick round interview is, what do you think makes us good roommates?
Oh, I don't know. Hannah, what do you think makes us good roommates?
I see you flipping the script here. Well, actually, the way Kim and I decided to become roommates was what was it? It was
a ride back from Charlotte.
It was, but what part? It was during kickoff or induction?
I think it was induction.
I feel like,
but the later part. It was one of the the last events that we did.
But it was during induction that first week in May.
Yes.
So the first week in May, because we had our summer pre-training before the pandemic. So ours was entirely in person. So we all came to Greensboro to NCA&T to do our first week of induction, get to know everybody, meet the other core members of the staff. And for one of the days, we had to drive down to Charlotte to meet with the other half of the region and do some, professional development. And we rode a bus back up. And on the way back up, I sat in a row behind Kim, and we got to talking about Game of Thrones. Yes. And we hit it off like that. She shared that she actually got to see the actor who played Sir Davos when she was studying abroad.
Yes.
I was insanely jealous. And that kicked it off. We talked about all sorts of like TV shows, movies on the bus ride back. We found that our tastes are just pretty much entirely the same for TV. And we thought that we would be a good match for living together. And it turns out we were correct. So we, I think, get along really well because we do share that same impeccable taste, in television, movies. And I think just, a general respect for each other is present in our living situation. And obviously we've done something right because we lived together for the past 2 years and we're going to be continuing to live together next year as well.
Yes,
and it's been really my rock during my entire core commitment and definitely into next year. It's been so much better. It's been a much better teaching experience having somebody with you who just knows what you're going through.
I don't know what I would have done without you. Like, to be honest, don't know what I would have done.
Well, I think we're running out of time, so we're going to wrap it up here, but hope that you all enjoyed getting to hear a little bit about, well, our living situation and Kim's experience in the classroom. All right.
Well, that's it for me.
That's it. And that's a wrap. Bye, y'all.